Around 2003 or 2004, an old video cassette was found somewhere in an old forest in Japan that was labeled with 4 letters. The content of the video cassette was said to be disturbing and unsettling. The following is believed to be the content of the video cassette described. The video cassette, like with any, began with a legal warning. After the legal warning, the video began. The quality was mediocre, as if the videotape was damaged significantly. The show's look appeared to be a psychedelic-influenced show, as if it was a children's show from the 1960s. A low-budget show. Unknown music was playing in the background as well. During the first few seconds was an animation of what appears to be a baby, with the gloves like those in the classic 1930s cartoons for feet, and a colorful mouth, as well as an indescribable object that was blue, as the text, "Let's make a new friend," rose up in front of the sun. The indescribable blue object had a speech bubble appear over its head, with the letter A in it. Before the speech bubble disappeared, after the speech bubble disappeared though, an unsettling blood-curdling scream was heard over the music, and a speech bubble appeared over the baby's head, with an O in it. Before the O was replaced with nothing more than static, the screen quickly became distorted and changed to what appears to be a human, with a face that only contained a mouth. The mouth was moving. Even though any speaking from the mouth was inaudible, the unsettling, blood-curdling screaming continuing still. The scene changed once more to a blinding blue, with several blue objects jumping, and the letter A flashed for a millisecond. After one of those blue objects hopped over where the A flashed, the A reappeared again. And in the middle, the baby from the first scene appears. The scene quickly flashes to yellow after that. What appears next may be considered one of the most disturbing parts of the video cassette. After the yellow flash, the same scene appeared again, except the baby was beheaded, not realistically, and the head floated to what appeared to be something like the sun. After that, the video began distorting with colors as the head grew larger. The head disappeared, and the color distortion was still occurring. The next scene was a more colorful, an expanded version of the baby's head, with the mouth being a blinding white. Instead of the colorful mouth it usually had smiling. After the set scene, the baby with the head again flashed, with the letter A once more, and after seeing the other scene, the baby with the letter A flashed once more, and then finally a third time, before the A quickly changes to an O. The second last scene was the human, once more, with a white question mark next to him. The eyes appeared as small, faceless heads of the human. And after that, the baby with the letter A flashed, for what appears to be the final time. After that, the last segment of the tape plays, which contains something, which actually looks like a human standing, twitching several times, while several distorted colors were in the background. After this, the video ends. Some have connected the screams with the screams of a victim in an infamous Japanese rape and murder case called the Counterpart Japanese rape, where 2 men raped a Japanese high school student before murdering the student and supposedly taped it on camera. The 2 men were never caught, and the videotape was found in the same area the student's body was found. The cartoon allegedly overwrote the video part of the tape, recording the rape, however, failed to overwrite the screams from the original tape, for unknown reasons. So this creepypasta is actually from a real tape that can be viewed right here on YouTube. I've used elements of it in this video to help explain the phenomenon described in a much more visual manner. So like suicidemouse.avi, this is based on a alleged video that you can actually view on the interwebs. I don't know if the legitimacy of suicidemouse.avi completely corresponds with the description of its creepypasta, but it is a video you can watch. This video This Agamemnon Counterpart is freely available to see right here on the internet. So if you want to look it up, just, find it on the internet, just copy the... In fact, I will actually leave a link to the video in the description below. So check it from there, but you can just Google the name and find it here on the internet. It's freely available, and many people have seen it, and you can view it in its entirety. It's not terribly long, but I will tell you that it should have an epileptic warning. There's a lot of flashing colors, so if you have a problem like that, please do not watch the video, or watch it with some kind of safety. Just do not go into it blind if you have any epileptic problems. That being said, initial reactions to the creepypasta are actually relatively great. It's definitely a creepy video, and of course, the creepypasta being an explanation of that is done well. The thing is, some people would say it's cheating, and in a way, I totally agree. Obviously, going onto it in a word-for-word summary fashion, it's not as if the creepypasta really took its own brains to write. But the thing is, from somebody coming from the outside, it still was described great. So if there's an art there, it is there. It was described well, and it definitely gives the people who aren't watching it in the visual manner to at least develop good imagery from it. Now, the reason why it's great is because the video is available to view, and you can do that to get the full effect. But the video itself, I don't think is entirely, super scary. It's nothing special in my eyes. I've definitely seen worse things on the internet. And as far as the screaming went, which was a big point, not the video only, but this creepypasta as well, I've actually heard some far more intense screaming in some low-budget independent horror films. So from what I can really gather, it's really just acting, and if it is, ADR a scream. The theory that this is tied to a rape murder case in Japan may at first seem somewhat true, but as I look at things from a skeptical point of view, I try to look for every single possible proof if I can find it, some different explanation. And I tried looking up the actual case itself first off, and I didn't find anything factual. People claim that it was apparently the most brutal case in Japan, where a snuff video was produced depicting a horrible act between a child and two adult males, and the audio from that is this video's audio part towards the second half. Now, that simply isn't the case because no record of this exists to my knowledge, and if it was such a big case in Japan, hell, if something like this even happened, it didn't even have to be high profile, it would still make some form of headlines in Japan. We would have articles of this available, and thankfully, because none of that really exists, to my knowledge, however, I can safely, sleep at night knowing that thankfully, none of this actually happened, and this is all a giant hoax. And what actually adds to the hoax is that this video is actually produced by an individual known as Michael Robinson from the Mantis Collective by Moviate. It's an underground non-profit film community that has a speciality, as far as I've been able to tell, in old film technology and its transition to digital methods. Michael and their group have a Vimeo channel as well, and while I haven't seen anything weirder on their channel, they've been around since 1997, and apparently this video was actually showcased during a film festival on their home turf of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Again, I don't really know anything weirder that they've produced, but as far as this, I can definitely tell if I saw this during a film festival, I would have some form of spook inside me, that's for damn sure. The rumor of this, again, just being audio footage from a terrible crime, is thankfully non-existent. And that's honestly the best part of some of these creepypasta, because, usually tossing elements like this, while it is creepy, usually, at least to some people, me specifically, I guess, and this is just me saying from a personal point of view, kind of leaves me, a little sort of jittered, I guess you could say is the best word I can really think of at the moment. And thankfully, because it's non-existent, that's just a better part of the creepypasta. Of course, I think it's a little bit of a stretch to just add something like this. What really would have been amazing to this creepypasta, to this internet legendary story, is to actually use a real horror case. I'm pretty sure there's many snuff cases in Japan that have occurred. One of the big high-profile ones was when the Federal Bureau of Investigation actually investigated the series of movies titled Guinea Pig, which rightfully they should have investigated because those movies were pretty realistic for the time, and because snuff is a market in Japan, it definitely is the market globally. They definitely could have focused on some actual cases and really brought this to light because, when you read a creepypasta, you tend to look at some of the factual evidence that it brings out almost instantaneously once you see the video. And over here, because you go on the internet, you try to look up this information, and if it just hits you on the head that none of this is true because you can't find any information on the alleged case that it uses, then it just sort of, sullies the mood. It just sort of leaves you empty, in that you just read a scary story that was essentially just a summary of a video with no actual substance of its own. And the fact is, when you lose that evidence, and when it instantly shows itself as non-existent, then it just kills the whole mood for you. And that's just how I ultimately feel about this story. That being said, I did think it was a good video / creepypasta as well. As far as me, I usually gauge these typically if I read them at night, which I usually do. Do I get a little bit of spooks on my neck? A little bit of goosebumps popping up here and there? And, here I definitely do, because, to be honest, coming across a video like this for the first time late at night, it would definitely send some chills down anybody's spine. Agamemnon Counterpart. And as far as I can tell, it's been a pretty good lost episode creepypasta. So, as always, I would like to ask you what you thought about the creepypasta in the comment section below. Let me know what you would rate it and what would you change to make it better. This has been another lost episode creepypasta, part of Haunted Gaming. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Mudahar, and I am out.